Hello everyone. So the bike's off the road still till next week. I've been staring out the window at it today, sat there looking forlorn under its cover. It's been quite a nice sunny day as well, which hasn't helped. But I've been thinking a bit about sort of bike stuff off the bike, and one thing that I don't mind doing when I'm in the mood is reading bike-related books. And I was interested to know what kind of books all of you guys read. I'm not a very good reader. I don't know if I'm a lazy reader or what it is, but I just can't. I suppose, especially since we had kids, you can't just seem to focus on sitting down and reading a book. My mind is just all over the place. But when I do read a book, I enjoy it. And I've got a few motorcycle-related books here that I'm sure all of you have read already. But it's just a few that I've enjoyed or I'm looking forward to reading. And I just wondered if you'd read any of these, or some of them have got television series or other kind of media related to them. So maybe you've seen a film or whatever. But yeah, let's have a think about motorcycle related books. So the first one, and this is probably my favourite, is Hell's Angel, Sonny Barger's biography. And it spans a long period of history, right from the start of the Angels, right from what got Sonny into bikes and all that kind of thing, right up until, I think it goes up till sort of 90s, early 2000s. I could be wrong on that. Hang on, let me see if there's a day in here. Okay, so published 2001. So there's certainly a lot of the 80s in there, I remember. 60s, 70s, 80s. But, it's a really good book. It's got some pictures, which I'm always pleased about. But, it's an easy read as well. He's got a style of writing that's actually quite easy to read. And, wherever you stand on patched clubs, you're going to find this an interesting read. And it overlaps with an area of biking that I've always found quite fascinating. So everyone's probably got a different opinion on this, but to me, when I think about biking, in my mind, bikers are broken down into sort of subcategories, and I'm sure other people feel the same. You've got your motorcyclists, you've got your Power Rangers, and you've got your bikers. To me, that's the three kind of main categories, and I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this, and it's a very broad brush that I'm sweeping across here, the stereotypes, but like Power Rangers, those are the guys and girls that you see out on the sports bikes in the summer with they used to be the one-piece leathers, didn't they? But like the colourful matching leathers, bombing around on the sports bikes and the fair bikes, and that's great. Good luck to them. That's that's one side of biking. It's never really appealed to me, but if we were all the same, it would be very boring, wouldn't it? So that's your Power Rangers. You've got your motorcyclists, and to me, I kind of always saw that as people. To me, actually, let's talk about bikers first. Like with your bikers, I've always kind of thought about that category as the people that live it. It's not just a machine. It's not just a mode of transport, but it's more than just a machine on two wheels. It's like central to your life. Not necessarily that individual bike, that machine, but just like the lifestyle of it, I guess. They're your greasy, oily hand mechanic types. They're your ones that just live the whole biking thing beyond the riding of the two wheels. It's, for me, it used to be the rallies, used to be things like the Bulldog Bash, your 3Bs with some of the rallies that I used to go to. Just that whole kind of bigger sphere of biking there's still meetups. You know, you've still got things like your CAFs, the bike meets at CAFs, all that kind of thing. But you don't seem to see as many of the rallies and that. It's partly, from my perspective, it's partly where, you know, I sort of settled down a bit, met Tori, my wife. We got together, and we were then into the family thing, and the rallies and all that sort of thing for me petered out a bit. But I think generally you don't actually see as many rallies and that kind of thing. And I'm going off on a massive tangent here, and I should probably do a separate video on, you know, these awful stereotypes within the biking community, you know. And I'm not out to upset anyone with any of this. You know, I'd be interested to hear other people's views on that kind of, you know, the three main stereotypes within motorcycling. So yeah, your Power Rangers, your bikers, and of course at the top of that biker subdivision, you've got your patch clubs. But even if that isn't your thing, give this book a look, because it really is very good. And then of course, just quickly, you've got your third category, your motorcyclists, and these are the people that, in my own tiny brain, just the people that use it as a purely functional device, like you would a car, you know, just a device to get, say, back and forward to work and nothing else, you know. And a lot of kind of, I suppose there's a fourth category now, actually. Since I started biking, you see a lot of folks on like adventure tourers and that kind of bike, and they're really another group of their own as well. Certainly the distinctive machines and the way they dress kind of fits them into a whole nother group, you know. So you got your bikers in like your old style knackered black leather jackets, tatty oily jeans. You've got your Power Rangers and your bright coloured leathers and all that. And then you've got your motorcyclists who'll probably just wear like a reflective, practical, all year textile, and that's fine, you know. And then you've got your adventure tourers who wear like that certain style of textile. And it's all great. I'm not knocking anyone. I'm just, you know, these are just stereotypes, and I'd love to hear your views on that. So anyway, this book kind of gets me thinking about those divisions, you know, because it's such a biker orientated book. So definitely give that a look. The next one goes back a bit further. This is Ted Simon and his round the world travels on his Triumph Jupiter's Travels. And, you know, that is such an amazing book, because it's pre, you know, Ewan and Charlie on their adventure tourer type machines. You know, this is really kind of hardcore. This is a biker doing the traveling, and you know, it's such a good read. And he really, you know, his learning curve doing this tour was incredible. And you know, he's literally on his own doing this, looking after his machine, getting it through all these different terrains and climates and cultures, you know. And it's such a good read. Again, pictures for people like me who like to have some pictures in amongst the words. But brilliant book, Ted Simon's Jupiter Travels. This next one is another kind of iconic older book. This is Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. I haven't read it. I'm going to be honest. I haven't read this through completely. Like I said before, I kind of dip in and out of reading, and I've got to be in the mood to read a book. And I'd heard so much about this book for so long, and I felt like I had to read it because of its kind of importance in kind of biking culture. And so I got it, and I started to read it, and I just couldn't quite click with it. And that isn't really the fault of the book. I think that's more about where my head was for reading. So I can't comment too much on this one, but it's one that I'm definitely going to go back to, because it really is. I know it is a good book because I've read so many people's opinions of it, and they're all good, and it's inspired so many things. Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. That, you know, that's definitely one. Robert M. Pirsig, that's definitely one to have to have in your collection, and I will read that. Apologies that I haven't. Here's another one I haven't read. I've seen the film. This is Motorcycle Diaries, Che Guevara, his early travels in South America on a motorcycle. This must have been going back to the 50s, I should think, early 60s. It's that kind of era. I haven't read this yet. It's in my to-do list, but I've seen the film and that was amazing. So I'm really looking forward to reading this book. Similar sort of vein to Ted Simon's Jupiter Travels, where these guys just shoot off on their own on this old motorcycle, and they've got to get it where it's going, and overcome all the challenges that come along with that. And whatever your politics, you can't deny that Che Guevara had a pretty exciting life, and this kind of predates that. This is the build up to that. He was a medic. I'm sure, I could be getting this wrong, but I'm sure he studied medicine, and this is kind of student type travels type book, so yeah, worth a look. And then this is the last one I want to talk about in this video, Charlie Boorman's Long Way Back book. What a guy, what an amazing guy he is, Charlie Boorman. So I started with bikes back in about 2005, and I'd wanted a motorbike since I could consider the road, really. I'd always wanted a bike, but it wasn't until about 2005, when I would have been about, how old was I then? Sort of 30-ish. Maths isn't my strong point, but anyway, late 20s was when I got my first bike, and it was really because of, like so many other people, the final thing that really got me, right, I'm going to do it, was watching Ewan and Charlie's Long Way Round. And like I said, it was around that kind of time, early 2000s, that there was just this explosion of adventure tourer bikes on the road, and like everyone was in their BMW textiles. I didn't go down that road. I jumped straight onto a Suzuki Intruder 125. That's what I learned on. And then once I was onto bigger bikes, I was into what I'm into now, which I think my first big bike back then was an ER5, which is what I've got now. But I've had like CB, Honda CBs. I had an imported CB 400 Super 4, which was a lovely bike, but it had a lot of niggles. I've had Bandit. What a bike that was! It was a newer, at the time. It was a newer one. It was the 650, and but I loved that bike. Any time of the year, whatever the weather was, whatever roads you were on, whoever you were riding with, you felt confident that machine would deliver. And for me back then, as a sort of newer rider, I felt confident on that machine. I felt safe on it in conditions. I mean, you could go, that machine could go, that Bandit, or could it move? Even with the pillion, when I met Tori, my wife, she used to come around on the back of the bike with me back in the early days, and she loved it. But yeah, the Bandit, just fine all day long, But anyway, my point is that I didn't go down the adventure tourer route. I went down the kind of traditional nakeds route. But your style of bike aside, you can't deny the kind of impact that the whole Ewan and Charlie phenomenon had on kind of the biking scene, the biking culture. So Long Way Round kicked it off, but this book is Long Way Back, which is Charlie's had a few bike accidents in his time, but he had a particularly nasty one that was really serious, and this book is about his recovery from that, and his getting back onto two wheels. And it goes before that too. There's a lot of his history in this book, back to sort of childhood. Of course, it covers the long way rounds and ups and whatever's with Ewan that he did, but there's a lot of other stuff in there as well, and some great photographs. So if you haven't read Charlie's book Long Way Back, that's another one that I definitely recommend. So yeah, that's just a little smattering of motorcycling related books, ones that I enjoy or have yet to enjoy, and what are your thoughts on this thing I was talking about the way you can divide up people into, it's like anything, into stereotypes, motorcycling stereotypes, and if you accept those four categories, biker, power ranger, motorcyclist, and adventure tourer, there's probably a better term for that one, but if you accept those four categories, which one are you? I'd like to think I was a biker, because bikes are so important to me, and I used to love the rallies. I love messing about with a bike and getting mucky and oily, and I don't really have many biking related mates now. A lot of them unfortunately passed away, and time moves on. If family life, you sort of lose touch with a lot of people, don't you? But I loved that scene a few years ago, and I'd like to think I've still got a bit of a toe in that scene, or the passion for it. You know what I mean? And of course, your rat bikers, and to me, rat biking and all that kind of thing falls into that biker category more than any of the others. But yeah, let me know what you think about all that. And also, if you've got any book recommendations, or if you've read any of those yourself, please drop me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. But anyway, thanks for watching, and catch you next time.
Wow.